Welcome to Talking Halos. Derek Ciapola, my co-host, my partners in crime, as always, Jared Timms and Nate Green. And we are here to, well, we thought the plan today was to talk. We're going to move on. We're going to talk maybe about second baseman, just kind of start the move on process. And everything hit the bricks today as a few things kind of came out in the news. Man, just when you think you can let go of Shohei, Shohei doesn't let go of you. And that's where we're at here, where we're still discussing this, and for good reason, as some tidbits of knowledge leaked out today. And guys, I guess we might as well just jump into it. First things first, how you doing?
I'm good.
Frustrated.
I'm so can we clarify this real quick before we really wanted to not talk Shohei Ohtani. Like this is an Angels
Yeah,
podcast.
that was the plan, yeah.
But with obviously with the press conference and everything like that, not mad about him being in Dodger blue. I could care less about that. Like that's awesome. Like he's in Dodger.
Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. Whatever you want to say. I don't care about that. I care about some of the stuff. I think we all care about some of the stuff that was said in these press conferences by obviously his agent, Nez, and then some little quotes from Shohei Ohtani. Not digging on the Angels, nothing bad about the Angels, more so about like the philosophy that's going on. That we
read
think.
between the lines. There's a
Yes.
whole lot of read between the lines there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that it's alarming. I guess the first thing, the easiest thing to talk to right now is, Bobby Valentine today. Well, that wasn't today in a conversation. Basically says, should we just go ahead and just quote outright what he said, guys? I mean, that's just easier. What he says today, and we'll credit Beyond the Halo for posting this. Thank you, dude. You did a good job, man. Bobby Valentine on the show talking about Paranazi was ready to make a blockbuster trade. Quote, he was ready to make a blockbuster trade. There were a lot of teams that were interested, giving good players. And kind of at the last second, Tom Verducci came out with an article saying that he's not being traded. Then everything had to get shifted around on the deck of the Titanic, as it turned out. One more time, on the deck of the Titanic. That's the Angels. So, again, crediting the quote that Beyond the Halo transcribed for us. Really appreciate that. The implication here, reading between the lines, is, well, one, where does Tom Verducci get this article from? Anybody want to take a shot there, Nate? I know I know you're hankering. I just want to use the hand.
I mean, I would assume Artie probably said something to Tom like, "Hey, we're not trading him."
Okay, so I would agree. Jared, would you agree on that one?
Artie or somebody in the staff, yeah.
Okay, but it's going to come from Artie no matter what.
Yeah,
it came from somewhere. The decision was been above him. We kind of had a brief kind of debate over text before this, and your view seemed to be, Jared, that this was an owner thing. I hold both owner and Perry responsible for different reasons here. Why do you feel this is simply an owner's issue?
I learned this, and I'm not that I'm getting old, but I learned this at a younger age.
Well, there's some gray there at your temples, just like me now. So you're no longer the young buck that you were 4 years ago when we met, man.
Thank you. No, I learned this at a younger age while covering the Angels during the Artie Moreno era. Artie gets what Artie wants, plain and simple, and that goes for any professional organization. That Artie gets what Artie wants. Owner gets what owner gets what owner wants. Not Artie gets what Artie wants, but owner gets what owner wants because they are the owner. So what the owner says goes, right? And if the owner says, "Hey, we're not trading him," we're not trading him. And you as a GM have to abide by that, right? And as a GM that you are going to take a lot of the heat for that side of stuff because you are the GM. You are the guy who takes a lot of the slack, just like the manager. Just like how much did we put on Phil Nevin last year? And realistically, how much does Phil Nevin really get? Could have been the front office. I don't know. Same thing with Perry. A lot of these moves, Shohei Ohtani move in particular, and we're talking about this right now. Probably not Shohei Ohtani's fault that they didn't trade Shohei, right? Or probably not Perry's fault that they didn't trade Shohei. So it's tough, right? It's very difficult to hear that side of stuff come out. And then the Titanic reference. I mean, that you read into that a little bit more. That's a good one, by the way. I like that, especially knowing, you know, you're sinking, you're not doing well, but you couldn't make a trade because the higher up said no to that. That sucks. And who knows if it was actually this year? It could have been the year before too. I mean, we've been preaching since what was that, 2022 to trade Shohei Ohtani and get what you can for him. But I mean, with the Titanic thing, it sounds like it was this year because the Angels were already
when you say
scuffling.
shifted around on the deck of the
already,
Titanic, it makes it sound like it was this year.
Yeah, definitely. So Artie gets what Artie wants. And I mean, I think this whole podcast right now is going to be about that because there are a lot of interesting, quite a few quotes from today's festivities at Dodger Stadium that really rub me the wrong way. I'll say that, and just hurts Angels baseball in general for me.
Nate.
Yeah, so it is Artie. It's all Artie. Artie knows how much money he makes from Otani. He knows if the Angels trade Otani, he loses a lot of money. There's a lot of speculation, 10, 20, 25, 50 mil, somewhere in there that Artie was making just on Shohei Ohtani endorsements and things like that. I do think Perry should have kind of put his foot in the ground a little bit and been like, hey, look, I know this is what you want, but like, I have to make some of these decisions too, because we had seen Perry make so many decisions recently about who the next manager was going to be. That was a Perry move. That was not an Artie move. Artie did not tell him that Phil needs to be the manager. That was a Perry move. No, Perry was the one who fired Joe Madden. That was not Artie. Artie loves Joe Madden. Perry was the guy who signed Ryan Tepera. Perry was the guy who signed Tyler Anderson. Like, these were the moves that he made. So like, where was he when it was time to stick his feet in the ground and be like, look, we are not winning anything this year. You have told me to put a winning ball club on the field. And the best way for me to put a winning ball club on the field is to trade Shohei Ohtani. And you know what? We're probably not going to make the playoffs this year with or without Shohei Ohtani. But look, I know you care about your extra 5-10 million that you could make in these couple months, but like, we need to move him. He's not coming back. Like, the writing was on the wall. We'd seen that Artie had tried to pitch already. Like, hey, how about an extension? And Ohtani was like, we'll worry about that after the season. Anytime a guy says we'll worry about that after the season, typically those guys don't re-sign with the team that they're with. So like, the writing was really on the wall whether Shohei Ohtani was returning or not. And that's why, like, I think like 75% of the blame goes to Artie because he is the one who makes the final call. But Perry takes 25% from me because you've got to have something that's like, hey, look, you put me in charge of this team. You expected me to put a winning team on the field. Let me freaking do my job. And I know Artie doesn't like that. Artie doesn't want that. But somebody's got to sit there and say, Artie, look, this is how you're going to win. You've got to listen to me. You put me in this position to do this thing. If you wanted this job, then you should have not hired a GM and just been Jerry Jones. So that is kind of where my thought is on this.
Here's just a differing point of view, not exactly opposing, and that is, I do hold Perry responsible to agree. All right. In my view, it's malfeasance on both their parts that they allowed him to leave for a second round pick. That's what happened. To me, that's malfeasance. And, Perry is a well-regarded enough guy around the league that if he was to leave the Angels, he'll find a job and he'll find it quickly. So from my point of view, dude, you stand your ground, you resign. You don't take responsibility for this. Because for the last 3 months now, 4 months, we've held him responsible for this. Okay, you don't you resign. You'll find a job somewhere else. And the moment your owner hears you say, I'm going to resign, then maybe you give him pause. I doubt it with Artie, but you stand your ground. Have a set. Don't be a beta male on this, okay? I'm serious. That's what being a beta is. You sit here and you make all these little moves, the Tepera move, and you'll own that, but you won't have the balls to own the Shohei Ohtani move one way or the other. You just allow Artie to sit in the background and everybody's going to blame you for your failure. That's a beta move, dude. You be a freaking man and stand up to the boss there because he has the ability in that he has the reputation across the league. He has enough leverage there that he can find another job somewhere else. And that's my problem with it. And that's why I hold him responsible for it, because you just allowed basically a bad baseball move and you did nothing about it. That was your former protest. You could simply walk away. I'm not going to be responsible for this mess. I refuse to be responsible for this mess. Peace out, and you take the dirt for it. And now Artie has to be the one to be like, he's got to answer those questions. That's the thing. He's been sitting back here behind the scenes. Think back to the Jock Peterson trade, same thing. We all found this news from behind the scenes that something went on. And meanwhile, these GMs are left to do what? And that's my beef. And moving on to the next part of the conversation, transitioning here, listening today, to the press conference and some of the things that got you guys upset. The idea you're kind of figuring out, right? This wasn't really about money, right? You guys are talking about this. I didn't see it, so I'm kind of going off what you said. That at the end, Shohei did go back to the Angels. Correct? Is that what you heard, Jared?
Yeah, the quote here from his agent was they went back to the Angels at the end of the process and wanted to give them an opportunity at the end. He declined to say if money was the difference in the Angels or not.
Translation, please.
I mean,
they didn't win enough.
You can speculate all you want. Winning makes a lot of sense. Winning seems to be a key theme here for sure. With all of this, you can speculate away for sure, but there is we know that Artie is not afraid to dish out the money. I think we can all agree with that. He's not afraid to go dish out the money, and at the end of the day, it goes back to exactly what we've been saying about the Shohei Ohtani process. It's not going to come down to the money. Yes, he got $700 million, but he's going to go somewhere that he thinks he can win. And it has nothing to do with the deferrals either. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Everyone got offered the same deal.
Yeah.
The Giants were offered that same deal. The Blue Jays were offered that same deal. It came down to what team could prove to Shohei that they were going to win the most. The Giants, part of the reason, they hadn't won lately. The Blue Jays, they hadn't really won lately. The Dodgers, they could say, you know what, we're never not in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs every year. Like, if you come here, you will be the difference between us making the playoffs and winning a World Series. Like, that was their pitch, and that's why they won. It has nothing to do with the money because everyone was all on board. You look at it, the Giants were like, yeah, we were good with that. We were good with the money. The Blue Jays, we were good with the money. It had nothing to do with the money. Like, yes, he wanted to be the highest paid player of all time. Like, that was part of it. But it was not like org saying, ooh, we don't want to go that high. Like you look at in, maybe the Cody Bellinger or the Yamamoto sweepstakes where teams might be like, we don't want to go as high as that. That's what it comes down to, is like, who could prove to Ohtani that they were actually going to give him a chance to make the playoffs every year possible.
See, here's the thing. You're talking about the Angels and going back to them and everything, and they're offered the same deal. The fact that they did go back to the Angels and say, okay, here's what it is, tells me that it was possible to bring him back. He heard something in the conversation that said, okay, I'm going to the Dodgers. And I think Shohei did have a lot of reasons to come back, kind of like a Stockholm syndrome at this point. But the idea here, in my view, you guys just, I mean, was it about money? It's not about money. Well, it is about money, because I don't think he heard from him. I don't think he heard from Artie. The words he needed to hear is, hey, I'll defer this money. And if I defer this, will you turn around and bring the guys in with that money to get us a winner? I don't think he heard that. Am I wrong?
That's the exact thing that's been going on this entire time. Like, if you wanted to prove to Shohei Ohtani and keep him around, right? If you wanted to prove him and keep him around from the beginning, this dates back to the year before and the year before that. Go all in. Go above the lugs tax. Show that you guys want to win. Show Mike Trout you want to win. Because Mike Trout's out here probably feeling like, man, do we want to win? Not because you're not signing Shohei Ohtani, but like, I mean, you've had what now 7 straight years of losing. right? Like they haven't had a winning record in 7 straight years, or maybe almost 8 years now at this point. I think it's 7 years. But you didn't prove it. Going into your last year, you came into the season just barely almost at that Lux tax and saying like, hey, we're doing good enough. Like this is good enough to maybe put out a playoff team, right? No, if you wanted to keep Shohei Ohtani around and show him that you were going to win, you needed to go all in. You needed to go push and say, hey, like we're gonna go get Justin Verlander. We're gonna go get you Max Scherzer. We're gonna go get you a bat to bat behind you, Shohei. We're gonna go get anybody that we can to make this a winner. And if the Angels did that at the beginning of last season, and now they didn't get Shohei Ohtani, I don't know if I'm as upset, right? Like it's like, okay, you showed that you wanted to win. Like you've never shown that you ever wanted to win. You've always shown that you want more money, right? At the end of the day. And I think that's the pitch to Shohei Ohtani. Like, hey, we're gonna make you as much money as possible, right? Like look at how much money we've already made you, Shohei. Like that is the pitch here. We're not going to win. I want to make you as much money as possible. So I don't know if that's what the argument was by Artie, but again, it would have made me, and I'm sure it would have made a lot of other people feel a lot better if you would have went into the season last year signing some bigger names, getting that shortstop, hey, like Trey Turner or somebody like that. Or the year before Corey Seager or a big name shortstop like that. Zach Neto's fine. Nothing wrong with Zach, but like show that you want to win. Like that's all. I think that's all any Angel fan is asking for right now.
I think
is
even
just
now,
show,
Jared,
just show
even
you want to
now,
win.
even now, if he goes in that meeting, that last meeting with the Angels and they tell him, listen, you signed, we're going to take you and Mike right now to a meeting with Yamamoto's people, and we're going to go get him.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the Dodgers did.
We're gonna go get Cody.
I don't think there was that guarantee. I don't have proof of that, but was there that guarantee? What do you think, Nate?
I don't think that there was that guarantee, but I don't think that was. I don't think they're really like they went back to the Angels as a courtesy. I don't think there was ever a real scenario where the Angels were in it. Like they went back and was like, "Hey, would you do this?" And the Angels were like, "Yeah." And it was like, not. They probably came up with something in their heads, which was, you know what,
but
this wasn't exactly the way I wanted to hear it, or this wasn't exactly right. Like I think this was just a courtesy. This is something that they wanted to say they did just so that way they didn't get hammered in the press. Like they go back and say, you know what, we tried, we didn't.
I politely disagree for this reason. I think at this point, especially with Angels fans, there was no hammering in the press for him leaving the Dodgers. Even Angels fans understand why. So there's no reason to go get the quote the press. Courtesy maybe, but I would agree more along the lines of the idea that hey, the Angels had to when he did go back, they probably didn't intend to sign courtesy, but they had the opportunity to change his mind, and they didn't do enough to change his mind. Does that make sense?
Maybe they didn't want to change his mind. I don't know. I don't know if it was like a real, like, how there are times where it's like, hey, I'll let you talk to me. I don't think you're actually going to change my mind, but I'll let you talk to me. That's what it feels like to me, where it was more of like, hey, here it is. Can you change my mind from going to the Dodgers, which seems to be where he wanted to go from the jump? And it was like, okay, you could have promised him everything and more, and I still don't think Shohei Ohtani was staying just because he had seen 6 years of this. Like, there wasn't going to be any words that could change anything because it was all about the actions that had already been shown to him.
On top of that, one of the quotes was, every time the Dodgers came to town, it was half blue at Angel Stadium. I mean, not to put anything on the fans, but like if you're winning games, there's a lot more red in the stands than there would be blue. I'll say that. I mean, Dodger fans are great and they travel and everything like that, but when Angel Stadium,
if you're over 500 in August and September, Angel fans are there.
You're drawing more fans. You're not playing in front of a crowd that's 10,000 people. You're not playing in a crowd that looks like Oakland. That's not the case. So,
well, I think in that respect, like I think the Angels fan base. I mean, there are definitely issues in the fan base, but what Nate said's true. If we're over 500 in August, September, Angels fans will show, and they won't just show at home; they'll show on the road too. So that says a lot about where the Angels have been in the last 6, 7,
Well,
8
yeah.
years.
It
you know?
doesn't help that they haven't even been close. Like, I think if this was the year after they missed, like if they made the playoffs last year and they were in this, Angel fans still would have been there in August, September. But because it's been that long process of, well, we suck again this year. Here we go again. Like Angel fans are like, yeah, I've been there. I've seen this. I'm good.
Well, guys, running out of time. We have literally 90 seconds left, so not even really time to go around the circle one more time. Thanks for joining us today. We're sorry for the fact that this became the Otani show again. It was not the intention, but we would be remiss if we did not address the things that were said today and the things that came out today. So for Jared, Nate, and all the folks here at Talking Halos, follow us on social media. We're out of here. Have a great one.